Hello, everyone. I'm working with another broker to do due diligence for a property that they're interested in a place called New Hill. So let me show you real quick the listing on Zillow, and we'll make myself small again. Here we go. All right, so it's 1,600 square foot, 3 bedrooms. Like I said, New Hill, North Carolina. I don't know if they're planning to live here or remove the house and build a home there, but it says 2 acres of land, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Chatham County. Let's go to the GIS. Go to the website, click on the Earth. All right, and we said 5975 Beaver Creek. So we'll type that in there. Takes us there. Great. All right. So if we click on the address 5975, all right, first thing it comes up to, it highlights the actual property. See, in blue is where the property is located. The first thing I see is like, all right, here's your main access road, and then it's interrupted. So this actually, I've looked into this already. This is a railroad, or it's not one, but it's an easement for a potential future railroad. So we need to make sure that there's some type of easement agreement or something, some way that you can lawfully access the home. So that'd be step one. In here, you can also you can go see the septic permit in here. We're going to get to that in a second. You can see you got your property deed. Um, in here, this is what you'd want to work with your surveyor to make sure that that's accurate. Everything's all the deeds have been updated. Okay, so another thing you do is look at flood hazard areas. I know this does not update often, so you're probably not going to see anything, but you can go to the FEMA website. Sometimes Zillow has some accurate information, but that's something you should definitely look into, especially if you have a septic system, which we know this does. Speaking of that, let's go to our permit. Okay, so this is for septic. It says number of bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. All right, right off the bat, we have a problem. This says 3 bedrooms, and your permit says two. So that's something we need to figure out. You need to uh, get that disclosed, or if there's something that's missing, or sometimes you can have an engineer say, you know what, the system is actually good enough for 3 bedrooms. But also, you see right here it says low pressure pipe. Um, Depending on when the house was built, and I know this one's like 80s or something, um, you might also have to have an operator. So twice a year, you have to have someone come and inspect the septic system, make sure that it's functional and it's maintained. Usually it's about $300 per inspection, but I could be wrong. It really varies. All right, so here's your map. All right, so we got here your map, just like we saw before, and it goes here. The difference here is right here. You got a gravel drive, and it goes through that easement and into someone else's property. So that's another thing you need to. Once you have that survey, you can verify that the gravel drive is actually going through your own property. If not, then you need to change it, or you need to change the easement. Also, you can see here you have your initial repair as permitted. That's not on your property. I don't know why that would be on this survey, but you can see there's another one right here. Great. All right. So which one is which? That's something that you would have to understand. And also you have your septic written right here, but there you don't see any way that it's attached. Does it go here? Does it go here? That's part of your due diligence and something that your septic inspector will do. Here's a drawing with cursive from 1986. You got your mobile home, tank, and then your system. So to go back up here, it looks very likely it goes right here. That's your system. 1,200 gallon septic, 1,000, I guess I would say pump tank. All right, let's flip this back around so we can see what we're scrolling through. 240 gallons per day. That is definitely a 2 bedroom system because it's 120 per bedroom. And then this is 18 pages, so some things you might want to look at. Okay. Not important for what we're trying to do. What's the date on this one? No date. Excellent. That's not helpful at all. All right, here's another drawing. You got your driveway coming up through here, mobile home, and it goes across so you're going across the driveway to your system with a reserve area. One thing to mention here says F drain. You don't want any surface water or rainfall to, to I guess pull over top of your system, because that is taken away from its effectiveness. So adding the French drain makes all the surface water and runoff go around the system and not sit there and sink in. It mentions here that shall be maintained until on the lower side of the lowest. All right, whatever. So here we go. Here, this is some of the installation instructions. Kind of generic. This is what your pump tank will look like. You should have and here you're using the actual pump. Your vertical pipe that's coming from your pump is where your float switches should be located, with two gate valves, so you can regulate your head pressure on each of those things. Stuff you don't need to know. You're going to have a control box here, but this is not looking like a control box at all. It just looks like a plug. And then this is odd. You have a different address, 5995 Beaver Creek. That's not the address here. So what's going on? It says to replace existing mobile home with a double wide mobile home. Is that this mobile home or is this a different one? All setbacks okay. Septic system seems to be properly functioning at the same time. See site plan attached. Great. Let's move down here. What is this? This is a different map. This is a triangle. We have the railroad easement here. So what do we make of this? Well, I know just from my own research that the lot lines have changed. So if I took this and I made it, I just highlighted it. I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of blurry. I highlighted the triangle, what's on there, and I placed that triangle in yellow onto this map. So this one shows that there is a space right here that's contested land. Also then, so we are looking at the one that's highlighted pink. The yellow is the whatever, and we need to make sure that their system is not on our land, and our land does not have, or sorry, their system on our land and our system on their land. So that's something that a septic inspector would come and they would try to mark, or at least try to find out where this system is. But this one is a 3-bedroom, so that could be misleading. When you look in here, it's like, oh, it's a 3. Well, you're advertising a 3, but it's actually a 2. So let's jump over to what we actually see at the site. So before we get there, I want to mention that there's some things that we need to do already. We need a title insurance to make sure that the what we're getting is what we're receiving. We need a survey to make sure we know where the lot lines are, to make sure that the easement or where the driveway is actually on our property, and where the septic systems are on the proper lines. If not, then those things need to be addressed. Let's see here. Here you have your first tank, and this is where your inlet would go into from the house, and then this is where you'd have a T, and it would go to your pump tank. First thing that I noticed is that the lids, they just came right off. They were not bolted down, and there is no fall restraint, a safety in here. So if a kid or a pet or something falls in there, just by standing on the lid, they could fall in there and you never see them again. And it's not something that you can swim in very long, because there are toxic gases. There's no oxygen in there, or very little, and you can get killed. And it's a very sad thing that's true, that happens unfortunately too often. So here's your inlet. Okay, so this is a riser. This was added after the fact. It means that the tank was buried too deep, and they need a riser, because if it's over 6 inches of dirt, you need to be able to make that cap so it's accessible. Well, it should be sealed here. You can tell that it's not very well sealed, because you have plant growth or roots going on. And you also can see some solids, which is probably not what you want to see, but that's that's what septic systems are. That's That's their function. So here you can see the filter. This looks like it probably has not been taken out and cleaned in a while, but you would take that out with gloves and whatever protective measures you need to use, and you would spray that back into the tank to make sure that you're not going to get contaminated water onto your land or onto your clothes. So once again, you can see lots of roots. That's not good. Filters probably very dirty. And then what it'll do is, um, if you were to buy this and you got an inspection, you'd want to get a septic tank pump truck to come out there and bring all this water out, get all the solids out, and then you could inspect this baffle wall, which is the wall that separates the two. Most tanks have them; they should have them. It helps separate your grease and your solids to where they don't go to your drain field, especially with a low pressure pipe system, which is susceptible to clogging and failure. Let's see here. Let's go to the next picture. This is the lid to your pump tank. You can see these corners, they're deteriorated. You can see the aggregate showing. This lid is in very poor shape, and it's also dangerous because someone steps on there, it could crack and you fall right in. So that should be addressed. And here you can see your pump. So you got your gate valves. The twist ones are not as reliable, but this is what they had, and as far as we know, it all works. You have right here your pump. Remember, was supposed to your this vertical pipe. The float valves were supposed to be attached. Well, this is a separate float valve, or sorry, separate pipe, and it's at an angle, so that might be a problem with setting the appropriate heights. I'm not sure. I didn't install it. But if it functions, then I suppose that it's okay. But usually there's a base plate down at the bottom to make sure that this is vertical and everything's working as it should. So this has a riser as well, but it looks like it's all concrete and it's sealed a lot better. All right, so it'll get pumped up from the pump and it'll go through these out to your drain field. Here, so in the picture we saw, just it looked like an outlet and plugged in. This is a control panel. You have your breakers. You should have this should be sealed, but you can tell that there's some bones of a dead animal that something got in there and couldn't find its way back out. But it means that this is not sealed very well. It looks like there's some splices or tape. Here's another. This is a twist nut. I don't know if that's necessarily as bad as the taped together wires, but this should probably be checked by an electrician or someone who's licensed to do so. The switch right here, it says auto off hand. Auto is what it should always be on. That means as it fills up, it automatically pumps and doses the drain field appropriately. If you wanted to test it to make sure the pump is functional, you can click it over to hand, and that'll just turn the pump on. It like hardwires it to work, but you don't want to leave that on because then if you get all the water out, now you have nothing to pump, and you can damage the motor that way. Also, you can if you do that, you need to make sure you put it back to auto. And this is your alarm for high water. And then you can also see the seals right here are deteriorated. So let's see here. The last picture, here's the deteriorated seals. Often you have whoever did maintenance on it last or inspected it, they'll put a sticker, but not always. But you can get, if you ever need parts or try to get an idea of the date of when this was installed, you can look at the model number and brand. All right, well, I think that's all that I wanted to share today. This due diligence one is one that's a little tricky. Like I mentioned, the big one is make sure you're getting what you say you're getting. So have a survey. Encourage your client to get a survey, get a septic inspection. If the number of bedrooms advertised and the number of bedrooms that the septic allows is different, that is a big problem. That is something that should be cleared up beforehand. And that's actually the listing agent. It could be liable for that, but that's a very important thing to look at. The other thing is title insurance. And if you have any questions about this, is there anything I missed, please let me know. This is something that I think the client is going to move forward with. It's in a growing area and he's excited. So we're going to do what we can to make sure he's equipped with all the information he can make to make the best decision for him. So thank you for your time and until next time.